TWM Podcast.
The day before the big game, the match on Sunday, the long ball orgy, the multi-man sports pile, the event where no one other than the actual place that does it can legally say the name. But first, Smack Talk, or we should say Super Smack Talk, or as Tony Chimmer would say, Super Smack Talk. I stole that from Rhys. He did it just before we started the podcast. Smack Talk podcast covering Friday Night SmackDown on your Saturday. Thank you very much for downloading, streaming. Hopefully you are subscribed as well to this TWM podcast. We're bringing you content 6 days a week. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, Worldwide Wrestling, and a little bit of NXT, UK, Impact Wrestling, and Ms. and Mrs. We cover all the boundaries, people. New Japan, CMLL, British Wrestling. We cover it all on Apple and Google Podcasts, Acast, Spotify, TuneIn, Podbean, YouTube, and anywhere else podcasts can be downloaded. Please, please, please leave us a 5-star rating and a review, and subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you do enjoy. I've been reading some of the reviews we get on YouTube, and they are lovely, and they warm the cockles, the sub-cockle region of my heart, and we are forever grateful for them. So much so that we have sponsors that want to give you things. Yes, they do. We are brought to you by We Love Sport, the fantastic app finding you your nearest sports bar, showcasing the latest WWE pay-per-views, but not just that. They cover UFC, the big game, the sexy ball game happening tomorrow, football, rugby, all that stuff. Got Six Nations coming up as well. Coming up or now? Is it this weekend it starts? Six Nations? Rhys, you'll know, you're Welsh. Today. So Six Nations as well. Because that means every time I go to the pub and I want to watch the football, it's going to be full of fucking rugby fans for the next few months. We Love Sport has over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK at your fingertips, and they allow you to book a front row seat so you do not miss a ting. App Store, Google Play Store. Follow them at We Love Sport UK on all the social media platforms, and check out welovesport.co. I'm not going to lie, the only time I ever actually enjoy watching rugby is sitting with Mike or Rhys or Geraint, because they explain everything to me, because I used to play rugby, don't have a fucking clue how it works. Go and check out WrestleCrate as well if you're in the market for wrestling swag. You can use the code TWM Wrestling for a free autographed item when you sign up for a monthly box. As I said, use the code TWM Wrestling at wrestlecrate.co.uk. I think they've got a lovely Finn Balor related gimmickry in the latest box, or an upcoming box, so please check it out at wrestlecrate.co.uk. Joining me, he's my pedigree chum, it's Rhys.
Ready for a good time, Matthew?
I am ready for whatever the second line of that song is, because I'd mentally block it out. Yeah, it's Super SmackDown. Super SmackDown means Super SmackDown. It's been a bit of a weird 24 hours for us, if we're honest. In the space of literally 24 hours without Brexit actually happen, it's been transfer deadline day and Super SmackDown, where stuff got weird. So we're going to cover the whole bunch of that. Will we have a good time? There's only one way to find out. Let's jump in. King Corbin once got the better of the big dog, but over the last few days, he certainly didn't win a lot. Boom! Roman Reigns and the Usos beat Corbin, Ziggler and Rude in a 6-man tag where the losing team must eat dog food, but we're going to get to that in just a little bit. My main concern here, Rhys, was that did not look like dog food.
I don't know what it looked like. Maybe
it looked like shit, Rhys. I'm not going to lie.
Pot of chili or something.
For me, some said chili. For me, when I saw the photo of him covered and all the Usos and all the bloodline, the Usos and their Us Roman Reigns, it looked like they'd just thrown shit at him. It looked like some sort of bizarre, dirty protest had happened.
Concerned me the most was that guy that was stirring it like pretty much the entire episode. It took him like 2 hours to prepare it.
Absolute pervert. That's what he was. How did Ziggler and Rude get away? Like, I imagine this is now the end of the King's Court because they just run off and let him get kink partied with the bloodline. Roman got covered in it as well, so it kind of negated the whole point. He was like, yeah, I covered Corbin in dog food, as his whole left hand side is covered in the most rank dog food known to man. This match was okay, but it was basically just, it was us sitting there going, get to the bit where King Corbin gets covered in what they say is dog food, what we think is either chili or shit. Also, they seem to, Roman Reigns is kink shaming. Did you hear this?
Kink shaming.
He kink shamed because he said, I don't know whether King Corbin has a fetish for dog food, then called him fetish boy. Don't discriminate, big dog. Like, you have a fetish for wanking your fist, so I don't know why you're kind of casting aspersions on King Corbin's. Also, I've been okay with Michael Cole, but he said probably the worst line on commentary I've ever heard.
When he said, loser eats dog food, maybe like 200 times.
No, it was the bit where he went, let them eat cake, I mean dog food. Fuck off, Michael.
He was on one last night. Like, I was watching and was like, he is just like, he's not stopping. He's saying the most ridiculous things and he's showing no remorse for it.
Are we maybe Michael Cole has the dog food fetish?
It certainly sounds like it from his reaction to it.
He's just, and I'm going to say this so we can get in trouble for defamation, allegedly, just cracking one off under the table. Just watching all of this. Very clips for sale for old Michael Cole. I'm not going to get into it. I was thinking at the time he got covered in barbecue sauce, and now stuff's building up that maybe Michael Cole might be into food play. But we went down that alleyway once when we kept talking about pegging with Lana and Lashley, so just going to stroll right past it.
The King's Court has now become the food court.
See what puns. There's puns for days. There's puns for days on this. This is really a super smack talk. I will say there was a lovely spear from
Sports. We're wanting this to be more sports based, and this is what we get.
Professional dog food throwing. They have literally gone, we want a more sports based, realistic based, and WWE have literally gone the fucking opposite direction. Why are you like this, WWE? I will say the spear on the outside to Baron Corbin was fucking brutal. Only because he had his arms up, he had his arms handcuffed, so he couldn't do anything other than just take it square in the ribs.
Like, it was a decent match. I think the whole gimmick is just completely overshadowed that.
Yeah, like, I don't remember a thing about the match. Like, the match was okay. The Usos cut a great promo at the top of the show. It was really, really good. But all I can remember now is literally Baron Corbin looked like he'd been shot on from a great height. So this is now done. I imagine this feud is now over. So for you, what do you think is next for Corbin, the Usos, and Roman Reigns?
I think when you're talking the title picture at Mania, I think Roman's got to be in that discussion. I'd say he's probably the most likely to challenge the Fiend as it stands, but I don't know.
I think it's the Fiend. I think it's the Fiend. I think Roman's going to win the Elimination Chamber at Elimination Chamber. Don't know why I said the name twice when I said the name of the pay-per-view and the gimmick. And then he's going to face the Fiend at WrestleMania. It makes sense. Corbin, I reckon there's one of two possibilities, because I reckon we're either going to get a big multi-man match. It might just be a multi-man match for the Intercontinental belt that Corbin could be a part of, or he's going to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and they're just going to let this whole thing drop off from Corbin. So Usos will be part of this mental four-way tag team ladder match I have in my head. There's going to be New Day, Miz and Morrison, Usos, and The Revival, which I reckon would be really, really good.
The thing with Mania is it's such a top-heavy card that it's almost like a lot of people drop down one place, like on the card. So you've got like Strowman now, who would normally be like main eventing probably, now in like the Intercontinental title picture.
Well, you got to think about it, when you get to Braun Strowman in a minute, but his last 3 years, they've literally scrambled to find him something to do with like a few weeks left. So he's now in a way he's got something to do. I have an idea for the Intercontinental title that might be like the best of both worlds that we just mentioned, but I'll get into that after we talk about Braun Strowman winning the Intercontinental title. He beat Shinsuke Nakamura in quick fashion after Zayn's attempt at removing the turnbuckle pad backfired. The fact that this is Braun Strowman's first singles title in WWE shows how long WWE have been almost half pregnant on the Braun Strowman push. They push him a little bit, pull it back. Push him a little bit, pull him back. Push him a little bit, pull him back. And now they've finally gone, right, we actually need to give him something this year. The annual Braun Strowman WrestleMania push slowdown is not in effect, but we all saw this coming, so we knew it was going to happen. But
I will counter that by saying, you think Strowman completely skipped NXT. He hasn't really been wrestling like a long time, so you got to think he is still like relatively, but like for the past few years he has been still green and still learning, so like perhaps they've almost like slowed him down just while he's still learning, and like now he's ready to really go for it.
Yeah, I would say that as well. I'm just happy that he has something to do for Mania. Because think about it, like year before, WrestleMania 33, no, 30 will be 34 was Nicholas, which was obviously tremendous, the greatest thing in the history of our sport. But that was like decided very, very late doors. Last year they just chucked him in the Battle Royal, alongside your lads from SNL. At least he's got a belt for Mania. Also, Shinsuke Nakamura, I was shocked when Michael Cole said 199 days as Intercontinental Champion, because Shinsuke Nakamura has done nothing since winning that belt.
He did it 3 times in that period.
Pardon?
Did 3 defenses and that's it.
That's John Moxley, Dean Ambrose as US champion, or Dean Malenko as light heavyweight champion levels of title defenses with that belt. Yeah, it's just a shame, but again, they've got nothing.
Lesnar look like an absolute workhorse.
It does, by comparison. They had Zayn removing the buckle, so I'm hoping this is a scope. Potentially, maybe we get Nakamura against Strowman, probably at Super Showdown for a rematch, and then they move on, rather than a breakup, because if they break them up, Zayn, Nakamura and Cesaro are back doing nothing again. So this is something better than nothing. My idea for this is quite a unique one. It's kind of a bit of it is a WrestleMania pitch, in my opinion. I think what they should do is have Braun Strowman announce he is going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but also say that he's putting the Intercontinental title on the line. So the Andre the Giant Battle Royal is not only for the trophy, it's also for the Intercontinental title.
That would be a unique spin on it. I don't think there's... I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a title defended in a Battle Royal. Only was it the Rumble 2016?
Yeah, 2016 and 1992 they had the WWE title. I can't remember hearing a vacant title has been won in a Battle Royal several times.
Didn't Kurt Angle win that? There was like a 40-man Battle Royal on SmackDown that time?
Yeah, that was when Batista... did the Great Khali... But there was 2, wasn't there? I think the Great Khali won it in a Battle Royal as well, the World Heavyweight title.
It's probably just the go-to for a vacant title.
Yeah. I just feel like... And then I would have Strowman win, because I feel like
Didn't Brian Kendrick win it once?
What, the Intercontinental title or just a Battle Royal?
Like win the world title or something.
Yeah, that wasn't a champion. He was an interim WWE champion. Nobody did the championship scrambles.
The scramble, right?
Yeah, and you wasn't the actual champion. You were kind of just like the interim champion until the time expired. And Brian Kendrick at one point was an interim WWE champion, which I don't know how they've never used that in a heel gimmick, that he goes around telling everyone that he was a former WWE champion. They should do that. It'd be really, really good.
Probably his hookup line.
He's a former WWE champion. Nice to meet you. Yeah, and I would have Strowman win, because it makes it elevates the title a little bit, because he's been doing nothing for 200 days, and it gives Strowman something to do and gives him a good WrestleMania moment. But we also had Elias interrupting Sami's promo, so Cesaro got sent out and they brawled. Did Cesaro mess up his ankle? It looks like. Did you see this?
I didn't see that, no, but I did. It did kind of feel like Cesaro was going out, and then I don't know what happened, if I must have just like not paid attention for a couple of minutes, but that segment seemed to just be over really quickly.
Yeah, he seemed to just like do a move, and then Cesaro like went to the floor and was then hopping on one leg all the way up. So I don't know whether he was selling or he like rolled his ankle. So I'm hoping he hasn't like done anything to injure himself, but just genuinely worried me. Naomi wore an absolutely terrifying LED disco helmet as she made her way to the ring. It generally looked as scary as that time as, you know, when that small child came out dressed as Kushida with the Kushida mask at Wrestle Kingdom. It was like that, but LED. It generally scared the shit out of me. It was horrific. Cool, but terrifying from afar. Naomi interrupted Bayley when she was telling everyone how good she is. Spoiler, you're not. You're really not a good heel at all, Bayley. Sorry. Bayley twatted her with the microphone, which is the only thing that Bayley's good at as a heel, which is sneak attacks and stuff. But Naomi kicked her in the head. Naomi versus Bayley. I am very keen about this. That'll be a good Mania match.
Naomi's return at the Rumble, I think she was so impressive, and you see all the attention she's gained from like non-wrestling fans. Like, people are sharing that video and saying like, oh wow, I want to watch wrestling now, like this is so cool.
Well, no, she's like the most, I've said this, like, she is so marketable as a female wrestler. Like, her look is so unique. She legitimately looks like something out of a kid's cartoon. Like, it's amazing, and she's so athletic. She's like the most athletic like women's wrestler they have in the WWE, if not one of the she's like up there with like the Ricochets and the Rollins and the AJ Styles in regards of athleticism in the company, and your John Morrison. She's very much like a John Morrison, and they just don't use her, which is a shame, and it does leave a lot of unfortunate racial undertones as to why. So I'm hoping they're going to give her a push and give her a title win at Mania in Florida, where she's from. So that'll be really, really good.
Did it a couple of years ago, last time they were in Florida, right?
I did. That also, during the build-up to that led to the greatest run-in of all time, where Naomi ran down the ramp and hit a running Rana at a running Natalya as she was running down the ramp. It is the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen.
TWM Podcasts have joined forces with WrestleCrate, the original and best monthly-themed, monthly wrestling subscription service to bring you a fantastic deal. Now, if you use the code TWM Wrestling when you sign up to a monthly subscription at WrestleCrate.co.uk, you will receive a free autographed item inside your first crate. Now, WrestleCrate brings you the best swag from the biggest companies and names in the wrestling world. We're talking t-shirts, photos, pins, DVDs, vinyl figures, and loads more from WWE, Progress, Shakara, NXT, Fight Club Pro, and loads more. That's WrestleCrate.co.uk and use the code TWM Wrestling for a free autographed item, all thanks to WrestleCrate and TWM.
TWM podcasts are brought to you by We Love Sport, the fantastic app finding you your nearest sports bar showing the latest WWE pay-per-views. We Love Sport has over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK at your fingertips and allows you to book front row seats, giving you the best views of the action. You can also check out what sports are being shown over the next 7 days, making sure you don't miss a second of the action. Download the We Love Sport app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Follow We Love Sport on all social media platforms at We Love Sport UK and check out welovesport.co.
We probably can't go without mentioning Naomi, without mentioning the host of this of Smack Talk, the future host of Smack Talk, Smiley. You would have heard her last week. She was unavailable this week, so me and Reese are filling in. Her reaction to when Naomi came out in the Rumble, legitimately screaming, and then getting a cheeky retweet and a mention from Naomi, and she says she's busy. I think she can't do the podcast because she's not stopped screaming since Naomi gave her a shout out. Yeah, so I imagine literally the road to WrestleMania, when you're listening to Smack Talk, is going to be Reese listening to Smiley constantly telling him how good Naomi is. So good luck.
Totally
good luck
with that.
Yeah, just a lot of you just going, I agree. I totally agree. Miz and Morrison beat the Revival, Heavy Machinery, and Lucha House Party to earn a tag title shot at Super Showdown. Apparently the Revival reportedly asked for their release again.
Did see in yesterday's wrestling news update, courtesy of yourself.
Yes, indeed.
I've also heard someone did some calculations, and I think their 90-day non-compete, if they get released now, they'll be able to wrestle again just in time for Double or Nothing.
Interesting. So WWE will hold it off a week, so they can't turn up.
But also, I'm never sure whether to believe this, because the amount of times I've heard the Revival have allegedly asked for their release, and then a few weeks later they win the tag titles.
But this is the thing. It's kind of a bit of a half truth, I think, because WWE don't want to, like, there's a lot of people leaving because the company's in a bit of a state. Like, they're gonna make money to spite themselves regardless. It's like Apple. It would take a catastrophic amount of bad fortune for WWE to go into a really bad state of affairs. They are a big enough company that they could probably lose a couple of $100 million this year, and it wouldn't affect them in the slightest. But a bunch of people are like, well, there's a bunch of people they're not using because they've got such a ridiculously bloated roster that are just going, well, I want to leave. Any other time they'd be like, yeah, go work on the indies, fine. Like they did. They let Cody go, they let Drew go, back and forth. But when they let Cody go, Cody made AEW. So now there's actually a viable alternative, which is arguably, in spite of some of the things to the contrary, a more positive, like, working environment for the same money. And a lot of indies are now paying the same. So WWE know that if they get rid of people, they're going to be basically direct competition. I think the phrase they used when they once released when they were talking about releasing Paul Heyman, I think Vince said they'd rather have Paul Heyman in the castle pissing out than Paul Heyman outside the castle pissing in. So I think that's the same for like Mike and Maria Kanellis and Luke Harper and the Revival. They're like, we'd rather have you here miserable and we'll try and appease you and get you back on side than have you on the outside doing really, really well and affecting our bottom line. So I feel like basically all they're doing is going, are you going to release us? No, we don't have to. Here's a 5-year contract. We're not signing it. We're giving you the Raw Tag Team titles. We're still not signing it. Fine then, we're going to have you as a comedy group. Fine, we want to leave even more. And they're just going to keep doing this weird toxic back and forth until either the Revival eventually get worn down to the point where they re-sign, or their contracts expire. And I believe WWE's, this is my opinion, nefarious plan is, well, if we don't use you and make you look like shit when your contract runs out, no one's going to fucking want you. So it's one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, no, just I think you're pretty spot on there.
Yeah, it's like as Mike and Maria Kanellis are just literally sitting, getting paid at home, because Maria's a genius and constantly kept getting them long-term contracts and then getting pregnant so she couldn't have to work. I fucking love Maria for that. Maria and Mike are fucking heroes for going in and getting a massive new deal. Maria's like, I'm having a baby, so I've got to go on maternity leave, keep paying me. They come back, sign another 4-year deal, and Maria immediately gets pregnant again. It's fucking genius. A dirt sheet next week. That'll be fun.
It's been a while.
They put all the old ones up on YouTube. I need to go back and watch them because I loved the dirt. Like Miz and Morrison, it's one of those things of like Miz and Morrison versus the New Day is going to be a big battle between me and Joe, because I love the New Day, but I fucking love Miz and Morrison. I've always loved Miz and Morrison, so I'm very excited for that next week. Happy days. Otis asked Mandy Rose on a date for next Friday. She said no, but the Friday after she's free, and it's on Valentine's Day. What are the odds, Rhys?
It's a coincidence.
What a coinky dink. Yeah. I also like the fact, I feel like they're not doing the heel turn now, because you had Tucker like encouraging Otis to ask Mandy Rose out, and Sonya almost do it, like just being like the friend, being like, cool, yeah, whatever. I did like Sonya doing that thing. I think we all do it. You know when like your friend fancies someone else's friend and you've got to walk up to them and they're with their friend and you have to do like the sup, the nod to the friend because you don't really know him, but you've got to be polite, and it's too polite to be like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, when these two guys are talking. You have to give the nod and the what's up to them. So, sup, how you doing? I love some people who do that.
The story doesn't seem like it has much depth to it. I thought there was going to be loads of character developments, like people turning and their motivation changing over time. It's just a series of things happening.
No, you know what this is leading to? I'm feeling this is leading to Mixed Match Challenge, and you have Otis and Mandy Rose win Mixed Match Challenge.
Is there one scheduled?
No, they've not announced one, but I have a feeling that they are going to build it up, and you're going to get like Rusev and Liv, you're going to get Lana and Lashley, you're going to get Otis and Mandy. They might even put Sonya Deville and Tucker together. You'll get like Naomi and Jey Uso. Like they're going to do basically like a whole. Apart from Tucker and Sonya, they're going to have like they might even not have Tucker and Sonya. I reckon they're going to have like a couples mixed match challenge down the line. For some reason, I feel like this is the end game for that. If it's just a series of comedic segments with Mandy Rose and Otis, and this is the way they want to turn Mandy Rose face, I have no problem with it because they could do anything with this now, and I don't care because the spot with Mandy Rose and Otis at the Royal Rumble is my favourite Royal Rumble spot that isn't Taka Michinoku falling flat on his face. So
it's brilliant. Like for all the faults the camera crew had that night, or not the camera crew necessarily, the production team, they nailed that bit.
Yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely just the best. Then we saw little clips from this promo from Daniel Bryan. I need to watch it because it looks fucking sensational.
Yeah, the clips from the promo.
Yeah. It's like I've heard it was really, really good, and I've not watched it. I'm gonna have to go scope that back because it's just a really like Daniel. You forget how good Daniel Bryan is at talking. He's very, very good. Mildly annoyed they brought up halftime heat, saying 21 years ago we had halftime heat, like it didn't fucking happen last year.
And I was kind of hoping it would, when it came back, it would be a recurring thing that they'd do it again this year, because I really enjoyed the match last year.
Yeah, no, it was like one of the better matches of last year, and it was in a really unique setting, so I was hoping they were going to bring it back, but it seems like...
The old SmackDown 6, but the NXT 6, like those 6 guys, when they were on the NXT roster, you could put any combination of them together, and it would be a 5-star match on TakeOver.
Yeah, you could have, like, what can you have now? Can you have, what's it, like, Ciampa, Gargano, Riddle and Dunn against... Oh, no, and then you have it against Balor, Cole, Fish and O'Reilly. Can you just do that? Do a big 8-man mental Canadian Destroyer fest with all these guys? Like they could have done it, but they didn't. It was just a shame. I'm sorry they didn't reference it. Joe did message me and go, in kayfabe, why would SmackDown bring up a rival brand show with the other rival brand main talent on it? And I'm like, I guess, but still.
They were fighting over the SmackDown main title.
Yeah, they were. Bliss Cross defeated Fire and Desire. It was okay. There was a lot of whiffed offense. Because last week me and Smiley had a bit of a tete-a-tete regarding Mandy Rose, because I really like Mandy Rose. I think she's a really solid talent, and she's going to get better, and she no like Mandy Rose. But it was okay. There was a lot of whiffed stuff there, which is a shame. And then we got Sheamus over Shorty G. I hope this isn't an enhancement feud, so it's just Sheamus battering Shorty G, leading to him being like, well, now I'm going to face a real opponent. I'm hoping down the line Shorty G does pick up a win against Sheamus, because otherwise they've just like ruined one of their better wrestlers for a very small reason when they didn't need to. If you're going to do that, you just have jobber squashes. So it's
a strange one, because you feel like these are 2 guys, but they want to be pushing both of them, but obviously when you're feuding, one's going to come out on top and the other's going to come out looking slightly worse. The only thing I did wonder is perhaps they could go down a route of, like they did with Cesaro, with the 2 end up teaming together?
My one was, I was thinking more older school with this, and kind of having not as dramatic as Dreamer Raven, but the basic narrative for Dreamer Raven was that Dreamer couldn't beat Raven, and then Dreamer beat him in their final ever match against each other. So I don't mind if Sheamus beats him like 5 times in a row. If then Shorty G is like, right, I'll if you face me one more time, if you beat me, I'll leave SmackDown or something like that. And then Shorty G finally picks up the big win over Sheamus, and then that's the end of it, because Shorty G got the win when it mattered the most, and then you can push Shorty G going forward to do whatever. But if you're just going to have Sheamus batter him twice and then not use him again, it just seems a waste of Shorty G, to be honest.
I think this would be a good feud for the IC title to be fighting out for. Yeah,
they could be. I have a feeling there's a lot of scope for multi-man, multi-team matches, multi-woman matches. Actually, no, both women's title matches will be. Apparently all 3 women's title matches, apparently, according to the rumours, will all be singles matches. So I wouldn't be shocked if the US Intercontinental Cruiserweight and the tag team titles are all multi-person, and you've got 2 battle royals in there as well. So yeah, 16-hour show. Brace yourself, lads. That does it for this week's episode of Smack Talk. If you want to keep across everything we do, all of our social medias are at TWM Wrestle, and we're on the road to WrestleMania, so we're going to be doing loads of fun stuff over the next few months. We've got loads of content from WWE, NXT, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, British Wrestling, International Wrestling, and loads more. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's following TWM, that's being a part of this, because just look at the stats, we had our best January ever. And let's not lie, January is a bit of a dry month for stuff other than the beginning and the end, because Wrestle Kingdom and the Royal Rumble. But you guys have been loving the stuff we're putting out, and we are forever grateful for that. And we're going to hopefully
put out more stuff. Was that a dry January pun?
No, but it is now. Rhys, since you're talking, you might as well tell us what your social media is.
You can follow me on Twitter at Rhys Teddy.
Yeah, and you, if you're in the Cardiff area tomorrow, you can find a whole bunch of us at Progress in Cardiff. So if you're a fan of TWM and you're in the Cardiff area and you hear a bunch of Welsh people standing next to a guy from Essex, come over, buy us a drink, love us, appreciate our work. You can follow me at Matty ID. I just keep posting the same meme over and over and over again, because for some reason I find the word stonks really, really funny. Thank you for listening. We are at TWM Wrestle. We love you all. Next week, I believe it's going to be Smiley and Joe covering, because I'm not here, because I have to go be on boyfriend duty, anniversary gimmick. So it's going to be Joe hosting, and I think alongside Smiley, or maybe Rhys. We'll find out during the week. We're all busy. We all have shoot lives along with this kayfabe thing we call TWM. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll hope to hear from you again soon.